It's interesting because a lot of times people believe that in cybersecurity, because it's technology-based and so forth, that the greatest risks are obviously in that area. The real challenge, though, is actually with the people. It's with the workforce. It's with our own employees and so forth. Now, technology is highly dynamic, cybersecurity in particular. And so the biggest problem, in fact, is the workforce, potentially clicking on a link or doing very standard things that you would do during your workday, and allowing the adversary to compromise the system, serve as a beachhead, and then move throughout your network. I complain about it a lot of times, and one day one of my colleagues sent over an email to me and said, "Hey, what about this program? This is innovative learning. They're talking about trying to sort of change the face of the discipline of learning in general. Why don't you take a stab at this?" And I looked at it. It was actually a joke when he first sent it off. But I looked at it and I thought about it, and I realized, if I'm not going to do this, who knows how long it's going to take for some of these solutions to be derived. And so, I thought about it a little bit and pulled the trigger. I decided my goal here is to really be able to identify the best methods, connect with some of the best people in this field to be able to learn as much as I can and then apply those learnings towards cybersecurity in general. Not only do I get to meet a bunch of great people, do I get to learn from some of the best faculty in the world, but at the same time, I'm able to apply the education that I learned here, despite it not being in my field of expertise, directly to what I do in the workplace. So for example, the last block that we just did was a learning block. And when we first went into this block, I thought to myself, well, as I looked through the curriculum and so forth, I thought, wow, this is going to be potentially difficult to map into specifically my day-to-day activities and the strategy and so forth. But as we went through the course, I learned so much, and I was able to apply it directly. I mean, we put this paper together talking about, for me in particular, sociocultural learning models. I was able to go through and do an analysis of my workplace and specific program that actually I run, and understood how those learning mechanisms were taking place and the methodologies and so forth, drafted a paper, and now we're actually in the process of rolling out that entire model at the broader Department of Energy standpoint. This is just from one block, in a block that you could argue would probably be one of the least directly helpful to my role. So it's been great. I think this is really important because when you look at business today, everyone's competing, and you talk about things like competitive convergence, where everyone's copying everybody else because they're trying to improve their margins or reduce their costs or whatever it may be. It's perplexing to me, and again, I'm new to this area, but it's perplexing to me as to why learning specifically is not more mature than it is today. If you ask me, people are the key differentiators, and Economics 101 will tell you that productivity is really sort of the key, right? And there's no better way to be able to improve productivity than through learning, right? And aligning learning with the strategic plan of the organization. I think that you can apply that to any discipline. Whether you're in finance, whether you're in operations, research. We do all kinds of crazy things at Los Alamos with multidisciplinary science and weapons research and so forth. Every single one of those areas, across the board, can benefit greatly, I believe, from the type of learning that we are exposed to here. So absolutely, I would recommend it to a lot of people.